Guangdong OPPO Mobile Telecommunications Corporation Limited, also known as OPPO, is a Chinese consumer electronics manufacturer that's based in Guangdong, China. The brand OPPO was launched in 2004, and in the last 19 years, the company boasts of a presence in at least 50 countries around the world. Although OPPO is mostly known as a smartphone brand, it also produces smart devices, audio devices, and power banks. Indeed, OPPO prides itself on being the world's leading smart device manufacturer and innovator. Some tech enthusiasts might argue with that claim, given that most people are only familiar with products from big tech companies like Apple, Samsung, Google, Sony, Motorola, and Nokia. But unknown to most folks, OPPO has quietly been making giant strides that could help them take over the smartphone industry in 2023. Keep watching to find out the 3 reasons why we think so. 1. OPPO dominates the Chinese smartphone market. China has a thriving smartphone market that is just as big as it is competitive. According to the quarterly mobile phone tracking report of the International Data Corporation, or IDC, the market shipped approximately 65.44 million units in the first quarter of 2023. And this is despite what some experts describe as a sluggish period for the Chinese mobile phone market, given that quarterly shipments declined by more than 10% year-on-year since 2022. Still, the folding screen market stayed stable in the first quarter of 2023, with shipments reaching 1.02 million units, amounting to a year-on-year increase of 52.8%. Thanks to the addition of more manufacturers and the release of more products, it's expected that the Chinese folding screen mobile phone market will continue to grow rapidly in 2023. Experts expect the Chinese smartphone market to further develop 5G technology, and as 5G networks increase, there will be a rise in consumers who want devices that can exploit the faster speeds and lower latency that 5G offers. By extension, the market will experience increased demand for 5G-enabled smartphones. Naturally, phone manufacturers will respond by launching more devices that support this technology. Here's where it gets interesting. OPPO is currently the #1 brand in China's mobile phone market, with a market share of 19.6% in the first quarter of 2023. And this is thanks to its dual flagship high-end strategy that has the Find N2 and Flip series topping the Q1 foldable market share. As a matter of fact, OPPO's newly released Find X6 series is a lot more popular than expected. In addition, OPPO's high-end market share has increased significantly, ranking among the top 3. As far as market shares go, OPPO became the first in the folding screen market share for the first time, reaching 35%. Among them, Find N2 Flip occupies nearly 22% of the market share, making it the hottest model of the season. But it gets even more interesting. OPPO has held on to its global position as the 4th largest phone manufacturer for 2 consecutive years. Given its sustained dominance of the Chinese smartphone market and the company's presence in at least 50 countries around the world, it is only a matter of time before its local dominance is replicated across the world. 2. OPPO promotes green manufacturing and operations through innovation. As OPPO continues to consolidate its status as a global brand, the company is adhering to an approach that will win over even more customers. And that is its commitment to reducing its environmental impact. The mass production of smartphones in megafactories greatly contributes to climate change, with 85 to 95% of a smartphone's overall carbon footprint produced during the production process. Despite its sustained drive for commercial growth, OPPO is constantly exploring innovative ways to achieve greener manufacturing and business operations. Thanks to the energy-saving and emission reduction initiatives implemented by OPPO, the company was able to reduce tons of greenhouse gas emissions from its operation each year. Since 2020, OPPO has systematically carried out a series of energy-saving upgrades to key machinery in its factories. One such project involved automating its manually operated machines. The idea is to minimize power consumption by setting the automated machines to operate precisely according to real-time requirements. For instance, the automation upgrades introduced to the corner-cutting machines reduced power consumption by 54%. OPPO has also invested in the construction of carbon-neutral data centers. The company's first self-built data center, OPPO Binhai Bay Data Center, uses 100% renewable energy besides exploring and applying cutting-edge low-carbon technology. One significant outcome of this exploration has been the research and implementation of immersion cooling technology for GPU server clusters. You might wonder how all of this factors into OPPO's dominance of the smartphone industry. Here's how. The networking and data centers needed for the software development of the operating systems used in smartphones, such as iOS and Android among others, can also be energy intensive, with significant carbon and heat emissions. According to the International Energy Agency, for instance, data centers consume approximately 200 terawatt-hours of electricity, or nearly 1% of global electricity demand, contributing to 0.3% of all global CO2 emissions. So there is an ever-increasing demand for data storage, artificial intelligence, and high-performance computing, and a consequent rise in the power consumption of data centers and their GPU server clusters. There is also the need to efficiently dissipate the heat produced. In its bid to improve energy efficiency and reduce carbon emissions, OPPO is deploying immersion cooling technology for GPU server clusters in its data center. Immersion cooling technology, which refers to the direct immersion of servers in a non-conductive liquid, directly draws the heat generated during operation away through the liquid without the need for active cooling by devices such as fans and air conditioners. The liquid that has risen in temperature is cooled by circulation and then returned to continue absorbing thermal energy. The heat recovered is then put to good use in other areas, such as heating and hot water provision, significantly improving the energy efficiency of the overall system. The deployment of immersion cooling technology leads to a 45% improvement in energy efficiency and an industry-leading data center power usage efficiency, or PUE, as low as 1.15. 3. OPPO is working on a phone that might be better than foldable phones. Foldable phones are the rave of the moment, but it appears that won't be for long. Why? Because OPPO appears to be working on a smartphone that could one-up even the foldable phone. OPPO launched the OPPO Find N2 Flip and the OPPO Find N2 foldable smartphones in December 2022. The company is also expected to launch the Find N3 model, which would further expand its foldable smartphone range. If OPPO just recently invested in the foldable phone market, why would it invest in another phone that would steal the show? That's difficult to say, but that move suggests that OPPO is looking to stay ahead of its competition by investing in a device that will employ a different technology than the existing foldable phones. There is a report currently making rounds. This report deals with a filing made by OPPO with the China National Intellectual Property Administration, or CNIPA. The filing in question describes a phone with a main body that will have a bar-shaped design, with the rear cameras and LED flash modules visible on the back panel. Interestingly, the report adds that the front display does not show any front camera sensors in the images seen. Maybe OPPO is working on an invisible front camera sensor, or maybe the cameras will be hidden inside the phone itself, only revealing themselves when the phone is expanded into its full tablet-like size. We will just have to wait and see. Other features of the phone might not require guesswork. For instance, the bottom of the phone houses a USB-C port and a speaker grill, while it appears that the phone could expand from both the left and right sides, with a button or on-screen command causing the display to unroll itself. Then, all the physical keys appear to be located on the right-hand side of this phone, with a Type-C port visible at the bottom, along with a loudspeaker. Going by the details from the report, it appears that OPPO might soon be launching the world's first rollable phone that hides its cameras when it's rolled in. When it's fully extended, its cameras on the back are exposed. OPPO already announced a rollable phone, the OPPO X 2021. Sadly, this fully functional working concepts device was never commercially available, no thanks to unresolvable issues. Since the patent filed by OPPO was approved in April 2023, then we might soon witness yet another masterpiece from OPPO. So do you think that OPPO has what it takes to take over the smartphone industry in 2023? Or are its current achievements flashes in the pan that would die off in little or no time? Maybe you have other ideas on how OPPO has consolidated its position in the smartphone industry. Whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching.